Hello, 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 and welcome to the fourth annual Zenmys and Year in Review, also episode 283 of the CRM Zen Show. It is December 29th, 2023. I hope you had a good Christmas, Tyler, because we are about to embark on a great show. By the way, I'm Brett Martin, and this is Tyler Colt. Did you have a good Christmas, Tyler?
I had a great Christmas. Was out in northern Los Angeles visiting my girlfriend's family, spend some time with them. So that was real nice. Always a pleasure to get together with family. How about you? You have a good holiday?
And we had everybody over. So we hosted Christmas this year, and we had the entire clans over. So everybody, but I've got one of my sons lives out in Germany. He didn't make it this year, but everyone else did. We had a good time. It's busy. I'm glad it's over. It's always good to have it, but kind of glad it's over. It's getting that's about it. I'm taking off on vacation, by the way. So if you don't see him, I'm going to try to dop in, but I don't know how this happened, but I'm going on virtually almost a 3-week vacation, but I will try to be working and back and forth. But I'm actually cruising from Fort Lauderdale, Florida is where we're leaving, and we're landing in Los Angeles. So going full passage of the Panama Canal through the old canal docks, and I don't know, should be a good time.
Be fun.
Yeah, I'm going to attempt to do
a lot of
show.
time at sea. I don't trust the ocean like that. We're not on that.
It's a lot of time at sea. It's way too many days at sea. I think there's like 5 ports, and so 9 days at sea or some. It's too much. 6 ports, something like that. And we lost one of our ports due to a civil war or unrest or something like that. But I don't know. It's going to be crazy. But you know what we are here for? We are here for my favorite show of the year, which is our year in review. And then I'll give away our Zenmy Awards. So let's get right onto it, shall we? And talk about our year in review. Oh, it's a special event. So first of all, let's talk about us. Shall we? We've had a pretty interesting year, 2023. I think one of the biggest things is we launched our team training courses, which have proven to be a big, big, big hit. Started off with CRM team training, and then desk team training and projects team training. Drew Brockbank, one of our senior consultants, kind of spearheaded this project. And what these are is you basically buy them once, and they're good for your entire company. You're able to track your people as they go through them. We are committed to updating these over time. So as big changes happen, we'll actually drop new modules into these overall training programs. This year, we're kind of expanding it in 2024 anyway, not this year, but in 2024, I think we're going to do a whole marketing one on marketing automation and campaigns and social and those kind of things. Do one on Zoho Books as well on the finance suite. So we're going to start with, I guess, the big 5, Tyler, big 6, and then kind of roll from there on the overall training. But it's been, I think we both have been pleasantly surprised at the reaction to it, and it's been a good thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have been having a good time. It's just a great way to get all your team spun up really quickly and not have to take on a monthly subscription, to get it done, because we try to make it easy for people to enjoy.
I wanted to make it a monthly subscription, but you guys overruled me. So, here we are. You just buy it and you're done. I don't know what that's crazy talk. Nobody gets to just buy something anymore. Anyway, also we completely revamped Club Zenatta. We were running it on a WordPress plugin called
Buddy Boss, right? Yeah, Buddy Boss.
And that proved to be, I don't know, we just couldn't get it to look and act the way we wanted to. So we moved over to a product called Circle.io, which has been great, but we've had some real issues with SEO, but we seem to have finally got those worked out, and the new Club Zenatta has done exceptionally well. And I think it's the community we always kind of wanted to do there. On YouTube, we've got our community quiz series, so you should go check that out. We actually start talking about those on the CRM Zen Show, cover the quizzes. I know I've been seeing them at the bottom of the doc, but maybe that's what Freddie's wanting me to do. I just never have. I don't know. And then we launched a brand new show called Ask Zenatta Anything About Zoho. I was taking a shower early this year, and I started screaming a Zoz.
Yearly shower.
my yearly shower. And I started screaming Azaz, and my wife Tina thought I'd lost my mind, and I said, and now anyway, it's been a show. So we've got that going on, and we'll be launching issue 2 or series 2 next year. So that will be fantastic. And we've got widgets and extensions coming soon. It is a 2023 thing, so we've got I think what's going to be the very, very best auto address filler extension coming out, and we've automated our health check, and that's kind of in beta right now, and we're running through and making some changes. So that's where basically it goes through your CRM and determines, do you have duplicates and a whole variety of things. We used to actually sell a health check that was a very manual process. This is going to be much cheaper, and you can just buy the health check for, I think, $60 a year or something like that. And
it'll just do it all for you.
Do it all for you and print a report and let you know if you've got dupes or, if you've got how many deals have closing dates that are in the past and a whole variety. We're checking for
empty lead sources, lots of best practice things across the CRM that should be on your radar if they're going on in your system.
Absolutely. So some really, really, really cool stuff there. And we have had some really, really nice subscriber growth, which has just been, I think, fantastic. Our YouTube channels, we've added almost 6,000 people to YouTube, which has been just amazing. 700 people to our newsletter. Actually, our newsletter went well over 4,000, but then we, on our own, decided that if someone had not opened our newsletter in over a year, we're going to get rid of them because to improve our open rates. And then Club Zenatta, you can see there in March when we switched to the new platform. We lost some people, and then we kind of grew back up from there. So that has been super, super, super nice as well. And this is the little dip in the newsletter that we got here when our pruning cleanup. A little cleanup we did in December there. But want to thank everybody for your support, and it's really been fantastic to see everybody kind of getting on board with these and supporting us, and they continue to grow. And then we have this fun thing we do on the CRM Zen Show where when we hit certain milestones, every time we hit 1,000 new YouTube subscribers, an angel gets its wings. So 5 angels got their wings on YouTube. 1 angel got their wings on Club Zenatta because we were waiting for 1,000 users on Club Zenatta. And then when we got to 4,000 users on the newsletter, an angel got his wing. We did not take those wings back. We let the angel keep the wing after we cleaned the newsletter up, which is pretty good. Yes. Yes.
Love that little bugle horn in that audio. Too good.
I do too. And so that's kind of what happened with us over here at Zenatta. And then, man, you think we had a good year? Well, Zoho, what a year they had. They crossed $1 billion plus in revenue.
Profitable revenue with no venture capital. They've never taken any investment money. Huge achievement. I mean, to get to $1 billion in annual revenue, totally bootstrapped, and again, profitable, especially in an age where lots of big SaaS companies are having profit problems. They've always been very solid. And as people who rely on Zoho, it's good to see their growth, right? As users, as partners, you want to be working with a software tool that is sustaining itself. And so it's awesome to see their continual success.
It is. It's absolutely crazy. And then they've added 4,000 more employees. They're up to 16,000 employees now. Big, huge milestone. They had 100 million users, added 20 million new users in 2023. Crazy growth for them there. New applications this year. You have their FSM app, which if you watch our last CRM Zen show, we talked about that extensively on that show as well. Zoho Practice, which is if you are an accountant, that is for accounting firms, and it's a pretty cool application. We're kind of diving into it. I imagine we will be using that this year, our accounting team, to kind of roll out some stuff there. But a pretty cool application. We have not talked about it at all, I don't think.
Other than the release news. I haven't gotten too deep into it. Maybe it'll be one of those surprise webinars I do at some point next year. If that's of interest, leave a comment and vote for me to surprise you with a Zoho Practice webinar.
And we're going to give them credit. We're going to kind of new application. We're going to say Zoho Marketing 2.0 or Zoho Marketing Automation 2.0. It dropped and I know it's not
I
new.
know.
They actually launched this thing back in 2019, but it's finally there. So congrats on getting that out the door. Really, really, really good. And before we go into, it occurred to me here, little kudos, little pat ourselves on the back, Tyler, because one thing we didn't talk about is we became Zoho's #1 partner in the Americas this year too. That wasn't
We
even on our
did.
list.
Yeah, officially number one.
Officially their #1 partner. There's a whole bunch of metrics they use to determine the #1 partner. Revenue we do with Zoho, customer satisfaction, retention, all kinds of things. But we're officially their #1 partner, and happy to have that honor. So now we just need to keep that going in 2024. With that, let's go back way, way, way back in time to January and see what happened back then. No big transition. I feel like there should have been some magical transition there.
You're kind of building it up. I thought there was one with how you were teeing that
to
up.
January next year. Anyway, so Biggin introduced their connected pipelines, which was pretty cool. And you've got new report filtering feature in Zoho CRM, which was a really big one.
That was a real big one, adding essentially like user filters. So while I'm looking at a report, I can add or remove certain filters within CRM. That's always been a big issue in the CRM reports, is that you have to go into the back end edit to do any filtering on them. So big update to those. Also added click to call to Sales IQ. This is one that I don't think any of our customers have used yet, but we always thought it was pretty cool. If you have like a PhoneBridge supported telephony tool installed, you can actually do a voice chat through your, web chat tool. Yeah. So pretty specific use case. I think a lot of people that are chatting with the chatbot don't want to do a voice call, but for something like support use cases and things like that, it is pretty slick to be able to start that process just via chat.
Yep. And then Zia's best time to contact analytics, I still don't know, but basically what Zia is doing, that's Zoho's artificial intelligent bot. Really, it's just more of kind of a analyzing. I'm not sure it's artificial intelligence more than just data crunching in this case, where it's looking at when does a person send emails, maybe when do they read emails, so maybe that would be the best time to contact them, and it presents that to you inside the CRM. Yeah. Kind of neat. And then I think, quite frankly, the biggest update, the most important update of all of 2023 happened in January when Puvi, the Puvi font for Zoho CRM was released, and then it becoming the font for all of the Zoho applications. And life before Puvi was just boring. And now
it was a bleak wasteland before Puvi came into our lives. Joke aside, I actually like the font. I think it does look better than the last font. I like that they're starting to use it across more and more applications. Like, I think one thing for some users is when they get Zoho One, they're like, why are these apps all so different? In terms of like where the settings are, where the fonts are, all those different configuration tools. So I'm a big fan, and I do like how it looks in CRM.
All right, and moving right along to February. Yeah, we're
just going to simulate our transitions here.
If you are a user of the CRM and you use Canvas views, you can now share Canvas templates across CRM organizations. We don't really, I don't know why Canvas views haven't really taken off, Skylar. Or Tyler. Skylar? Tyler?
Told me that last week, too, on the CRM Zen Show.
My son's name, by the way. I have no idea what's going on. I'll start calling you one of my dog's names later on, then I'll know I've turned into my mother. She used to do that when she'd call us for dinner. She'd run through, Betsy, Fuzz, all of the different dogs before she got to any of our children's names. But anyway, Tyler, we don't seem to use Canvas, and it just doesn't seem to have caught on with our clients. Has the potential to be cool. Again, that was a 2019 release, Canvas.
2019. I think 2018 announced, 2020 release, maybe.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
And this was just, kind of allowing you to share it across various CRM organizations. So you could technically build a cool Canvas view and go, hey, friend of mine who uses Zoho, would you like it? And you can kind of share it over there. Kind of a wild use case, but a cool one because you can spend hours and hours building. I mean, these canvas views basically allow you to completely customize the look and feel of every single page of every module inside of Zoho. So you can spend a lot of time doing that. So anyway, and then ChatGPT for Zoho Click and Click 4.0, Tyler. Kind of cool.
And 4.0 is actually a pretty significant update. I refreshed myself on some of these stories, but Click 4.0 added basically VoIP support for Zoho Click. They added a new TV app for like hybrid meetings. So if you have some people in office, some people remote, and you want to have like a conference call style, session from in a conference room, tons of customization options on the back end of Zoho Click, tighter integration with WorkDrive, image annotation natively within the app as you're like uploading an image. And then a bunch of development tools. So like a lot of additional like widget functionality, map views and widgets, building out forms within Click. I mean, just tons and tons of updates there for Zoho Click. That was definitely a good one. One of our favorite applications. Also released in the month of February, the geolocation extension for Zoho Desk. This is basically the ability to take a ticket and put it on a map and route to it. Just natively from within Zoho Desk. It's also supported on the mobile app, which I think is actually an update that came later in the year, which should be in here. But that's a really nice one. Again, there's a lot of ways to do like field service type workflows within Zoho. This is obviously just another one. But for those who are heavy duty in Zoho Desk, it's great to be able to do this routing without leaving that application.
And also, if you are a Google Calendar user, you can now sync it to your CRM calendar and it would mark you as unavailable. That could be really big. If there's a feature in CRM, Zoho has a product called Zoho Bookings, which allows you to send out a booking link and people can book with you. That application, we've talked about it forever, but the CRM has had the ability to send out a booking link for a very, very long time, 7, 8, 9 years. And so if you're using Google Calendar now, it actually is syncing to that, checking your availability.
Yeah.
So pretty nice across the board there. So that's a good thing. Going back to Click 4.0, I am just amazed at the things we've been able to do with Click this year and how it's just how robust it's gotten, the various bots and the various things we've been able to do and pulling in tail. And it's just crazy. So that is one of those apps that, you talk to people about. It's funny when I'm talking, why should you be using Zoho? And they're doing it, and are they Slack users? But, with Slack, everything's external that has to be plugged into it, and with Zoho, so much is integrated into Click, which is their version of Slack, if you were wondering. So, all right, and let's move on to March Madness. There we go. So Freddie, this is going to, because of these transitions I'm doing, I'm going to force you next year to have beautiful transitions. Or are you just going to cut?
Yes, you will. I'm on it, man. I'll get them for next year.
And the madness that was March. Zoho CRM early releases, global sets, lookup filter, record locking, CPQ, and Pathfinder. This was some big things.
Yeah, this is huge. One of the things that Zoho did, I think, great work on over the course of 2023 was roll out a lot of what they are calling like core feature updates to CRM. So like they had a lot of shiny objects, right? Like voice of customer and sentiment analysis and things like that. Those are not what we would call core. Something like filtering a lookup field so that it only shows contacts that are lawyers. That is core functionality. So they did a great job kind of layering in much more of that. Global sets basically being a unified backend for pick list options. That's huge. People have been begging for that forever. Record locking is awesome. We used to have to do that with like approval processes, which was not really a good way to do it. You basically put it in an approval that never got approved and that would lock it, but it just doesn't feel right, at the end of the day to do it that way. And then CPQ is actually a great implementation for creating quotes. Obviously not as robust as like a CPQ only tool might be, but it actually satisfies the requirements for, I think, most Zoho users who need that type of functionality.
Yeah, I think Drew just did a nice video on CPQ here recently, kind of
and guided selling, kind of a part of it.
Yeah, very, very, very cool. And what was Pathfinder again?
Pathfinder was an interesting one. It was like, we haven't used it much. It's like routing how people move through stages or statuses based on like communication that has occurred. We haven't really found the sweet spot for that one quite yet in terms of how we're going to use it on a day-to-day.
All right, and then Zoho Marketplace celebrated 1 million installs, which was pretty cool. My guess is they're probably pushing 2 million by now because the marketplace is just blown up this year. WorkDrive had some, we put it in here as major, the ability to transfer ownership of your folders and files. That was kind of a big missing feature.
Yeah.
Now that when it got put into WorkDrive, it was kind of important. And then there were multiple enhancements to CRM email. I think most of the big ones we were excited about were around mail merge, I think. Something.
That was kind of around mail merge, also around like the whole UI of looking at emails within CRM. Like they improved a lot about like how threads show and the ability to expand and collapse different threaded emails. They also added the ability to trigger like a custom button while you're looking at an email. So if you read through an email and you press a button that instantly sends like a contract or a proposal, right, just automatically. So yeah, just UI improvements and overall just cheering them on as they more tightly integrate email with CRM.
All right. Fantastic. All right. Before April, as we all know, April is the cruelest month. Bleeding lilacs out of the dead land. That would be T.S. Eliot, The Wasteland.
Yeah, right over my head.
Might want to go look up that poem. April is the cruelest month. Yes, great poem. If you're for you literature majors out of there, April, but not a cruel month if you're a Zoho user. Zoho One-Off 3.0 was released. Sales IQ Zobot was live for social channels. New card forms in Zoho Forms. So this basically was their attempt to do type form. I know we were
like
super
Ninja form, type builders. Yeah, where you're kind of sectioning out the fields over multiple different pages of a particular form, even down to like one field per page as it's guiding them through the process.
And yet, I thought that was going to be the coolest thing, but I don't know. Maybe there's been some implementation around that. It was pretty nice. Pretty nice.
I don't know if I've used it.
Yeah. And I think, is this our first mention of ChatGPT for the year?
No, I think there may have been one earlier in the year. Yeah, I think so.
Trying to,
Click.
February.
Hold it up for Click first.
February, we had it for Click. But I think from now on out, we should have ChatGPT every month. I'm not sure, but it was ChatGPT for Zoho Writer. I have to say, a really cool implementation that got better throughout the year. Rewrite this paragraph for me. There was just so many different things it would do. Research this. Yeah, it's just really, really nice implementation. I was excited about that. And then Zoho Recruit added an offers module. So I think something that can you do custom modules in Zoho Recruit?
I don't think so. And, it's a little more strict in Recruit on like how things work and how they all connect. This is one story. They added a couple modules throughout the year. I think this is the only one we're highlighting here, but offers and applications and things like that. Basically, they're just fixing the data relationship issue they've had between candidates and job openings, right? That like you might have many different offers sent to a candidate for many different job openings over time. Same with like applications. So they've been inserting some new modules basically between job openings and candidates just to make the application make a little bit more sense for users.
All right. And then we will move on to May, where we will find data prep and ChatGPT and ChatGPT and ChatGPT. So in May, it was all about ChatGPT with the exception of Zoho Projects introduced project automation. So why don't we start at the bottom, Tyler? So what was the big deal with the Zoho Projects project automation?
Basically, just workflows can now trigger based on updates to the project data. So not like task on a project, but the project itself. So like an example would be like, we do projects where the budget might change over time. And if the budget changes, these 3 people need to be notified. Right. So now you can essentially set up like a CRM style workflow, like when this field value changes, send this email, run this function, etc. we're nerds, so we always love more ways to trigger automations. So we wanted to include that here in the year in review.
And May clearly was the big month for ChatGPT. They were getting it going there early in the months, but now then they got it into data prep, and they actually integrated it into Zia, which is Zoho's artificial intelligence agent, so making it much more intelligent. And then they integrated into ChatGPT into Zoho Desk. And I have to say, every one of these I remember throughout the year saying, pretty nice job.
Yep.
Pretty nice integration across the board.
Yeah, they moved quickly on these. It was really nice to see. Just really throughout most of the applications, they saw it as high priority for sure, and they got it done.
Oh. Excellent stuff. And now moving on to June. Nice, Freddie.
Oh, look at that.
June there. If you live in California, we have June gloom. But there was no gloom in June as related to Zoho because they were on a roll. So CRM had a sheet view revamp. So this was kind of a cool thing. Zoho, if you're in a module in CRM and if you're in a custom view or whatever, you can bring up a sheet view, which I think used to give you 100 and now it gives you 200. Is that was the change, I want to say? Right?
Yeah, more data and more functionality kind of while you're in the sheet view.
Allows you to kind of do some quick bulk edits and run through things. You basically make all these changes in the sheets, you save it, and it updates the entire CRM. So watch your privileges on sheet view if you're out there doing that one as well. And then you can easily create personalized writer documents in bulk with your Zoho creator data. Not sure I remember this one, Tyler, but we thought it was important.
Yes, this is it's kind of similar to like the Zoho CRM integration for Writer, where you could always integrate Creator and a template to be created, but the problem was that it wasn't native, so it was all just deluge. This is them just adding more pre-baked ability to generate documents from within Zoho Creator.
All right, and then Canvas list view gets an overhaul, which was a continued improvement over in the Canvas view. So when you were doing lists, that was basically custom views? Is that what they're doing there? Is that what the list views
it's like how the record looks in the list view as a canvas, because they had that before they had record view canvas mode. Then they did record view, and then list view ended up kind of getting left in the dust. So they rebuilt that with the new canvas view functionality. Then last but not least, a couple updates for CRM around user lookups and filters. So the big one here is essentially that when you add a user lookup to a record, you can now have it filter based on the role, the profile, the group of that particular user. You can also use roles and groups in a lot more filters as well. So like owned by not Brett and Tyler, but owned by a user in the role of sales, right? Whatever it may be. So just making things much more dynamic, especially for larger companies and organizations. That's like an absolute need to have.
All right. And then we move into the middle of summer, right into July, and things kept cranking along. Route IQ for Zoho CRM was released. We talked about that. Matter of fact, last week on our show, you actually had done a complete, on the CRM Zen Show, we highlighted a new video you did, I think 17 minutes, kind of covering up Route IQ and covering Route IQ and going through the pros and the cons and how to use it. And so, and I'm pretty satisfied with that application on the whole, right?
Yeah, pretty solid app. Couple buttons are in places you may not expect them. But other than that, yeah, really good implementation for routing and CRM.
All right. And also in the CRM, note attachment restrictions were based on profile were introduced. So could basically restrict who could see and access and view notes and attachments.
Delete and all the different types of actions have control over with notes and attachments. Again, just one of those things that smaller companies might not be a big deal. Larger companies, you just need more robust sharing and data control permissions. So a couple of these updates are kind of in that vein.
And a couple big ones for Zoho Desk. Zoho Desk added custom lookup fields for tickets, contacts, and account modules, which was super, super helpful when working with tickets and inside of Zoho Desk. And then on the Android side of Zoho Desk app, it now supported marketplace extensions. So,
Yep. And that one seems minor. You might be wondering, well, why would that possibly be in the year in review? Well, reason is Zoho Desk implements a lot of new features to Desk as marketplace extensions. So like when we mentioned earlier in the show, they added that geolocation for Zoho Desk. Well, that's not added to the native app. You install it as a plugin developed by Zoho for the Zoho app. So if you were on Android before then, it wouldn't work. And for something like geolocation, you kind of need that mobile. That's like the main time that you would use it. So yeah, big update there, even though it seems like a minor little feature add for them.
And, we talk about it. At first I was kind of like, wow, this should be core. This should be in Zoho Desk, right? In the application. But the more I think, I kind of like what they're doing there because maybe it's a feature you don't want, I think they could go back and completely redo Zoho People, where just 90% of Zoho People is a module that you can add in the marketplace extension, But anyway, nice job there in July. And we now move into the hot August nights. Name that artist. Anyone? Hot August nights? Nope.
I'm striking out the demo for 2.
I can see him. Hot August nights. Neil Diamond.
Really?
Yes. Am I correct on that, Freddie? Our little music, I think that's correct. Do that with test. Anyway, August, Zoho re-released FSM. Actually, it's funny. We're calling that a new application. It really wasn't. It was one that was taken off, really completely taken down and out, and then re-released after 3 years. And we've talked about this ad nauseum, but they've done a really nice job on that. We're really, really happy with that. So it was kind of good to see that come out. And then the CRM introduced profile-based home pages, sharing, and new limits for role-based something. What do we got there? Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, so this was a whole kind of redo to the way that home pages in CRM are shared. Previously, it was basically one homepage per role. Now you can do up to 10 home pages per role and separate home pages assigned by profile. So like, that's a pretty big one. Like I've had customers in the past where like we have built out many different basic Zoho Analytics reports just to be able to show a single person more than one dashboard, where now you might not need to do that, right? Like a sales team could have like a leads dashboard, a deals dashboard, and an accounts receivable dashboard that they go through one after another. So that's a very, very significant update. I mean, from 1 to 10 home pages per role is pretty huge.
Very cool. And then Zoho Creator added a canvas builder. So similar to what's in the CRM. It's interesting. We have been doing, I guess, similar, but just using HTML and cascading style sheets and CSS to kind of really spiff up Zoho Creator. But this allowed just anybody who's working Zoho Creator to really change the way that overall interface looked and feels. And so it was a super, super big addition to Zoho Creator, which is their low code application development tool. Biggin dropped version 2 of their APIs. Cool. I'm sure they added in some stuff that was fun there. Yeah. But I think the big one
used a Biggin API. I don't think we've ever done it. It's not a product that you really need to build a lot of integrations for. It's kind of supposed to stay simple at the end of the day.
And then the CRM got rid of the activities module because they basically blew it into 3 different modules, right? So
yep.
So calls and tasks and meetings, everything got taken into separate modules, which is necessary. I think that we still don't have the ability to do super nice Kanban views based upon stage and tasks in the CRM, but I believe that's going to be something we'll have this year based upon the fact that they basically dismantled the activities module, which was kind of making it impossible to do that going forward. Yeah. So I know that a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth about how that was implemented and how it looked in the records and the clicks, but they've slowly been kind of addressing some of those kind of things, and I think it's been getting better since that initial launch was done.
It's a Band-Aid that needed to get ripped off.
Yes, it did. And moving into September, all righty, Zoho CRM emails from contact roles linked to deals added. That's the horrible sentence for something that's really cool. But this has been a problem all the time, which is, you're in a deal and you want to have emails from people that are associated contacts. They inside that deal. So if you don't know, in a deal, you actually can assign various people to it. Oh, this person's the decision maker. This person's the implementer. And you may want to be able to then link emails from those people to that particular deal. Before, this was a very long, arduous process. And I think this solved the problem for a lot of people. I mean, this was like a must-have for certain clients.
Yeah, this was a big deal for anyone who does sales where there's many stakeholders, even like 3 stakeholders, right? It just becomes a little bit untenable. So yeah, this just allows you to, start emails from a deal and pick from the contact roles, which is a big part of it. And then it will also sync those emails back under that deal view so that you don't have to go all the way up to the account where then you're seeing emails from people that might not have anything to do with it, and just allows people to manage their pipeline even more tightly.
And you now had some mail merge enhancements to the inventory module inside the CRM. Just allowed you to do some more merging fields there that were important. Also, Zoho CRM email bounce, ability to unblock, a major, major update, because you basically, in the past, if Zoho had determined, they say there was a soft bounce and it happened a couple of times, then that email was blocked forever, even though you had the right email in there. Who knows what the problem was? Could be a server issue on their end. Maybe they were switching mail servers, whatever happened. You lost the ability to email that person, even though
reach
you
out
knew.
To support. Yeah, to go to support to get them to unblock that email. Now they've added that ability to do it on the front end. One really important use case for this is in the old Zoho CRM and Campaigns sync. If someone would unsubscribe from Campaigns, it would block that email in CRM. It would actually brute force and unsubscribe and block it, and you couldn't get it opted back in all cases, which, as we all know, CRM is sending transactional emails, right? Like, here's your invoice, versus Campaigns is sending marketing. So splitting those out and then allowing the ability to opt people back in is super important.
All righty. And moving on to October. Zoho dropped.
Spookiest month of the year.
It was scary. Anyway, they introduced us Click 5.0 at the beginning of the year.
Just come out. Yeah, that was a quick one.
And let's go back here. I got to just let's go back a little bit here.
Fact check ourselves, but yeah, that would have been
4.0 in February, and then 5.0 in October. That is, we're on it, man. So the click train I didn't realize that at the time when we did that.
Yeah.
That they basically in 1 year, 2 versions.
And the big thing with Click 5.0, and we covered this back when it came out, was a lot of the like e-discovery and audit trails for like legal compliance. Just being able to like surface messages and things like that from within the platform. We didn't turn that on because it technically gives you the ability to check messages that are in private chats, relevant for legal discovery processes, because you have to go full open kimono in those situations. But for us, we didn't really want the ability to see anybody's messages. So we turned that off. But again, like we talk about, sometimes these features are needed by larger enterprise clients that like have to have that ability in order to use the tool. And then, more features and functionalities around hybrid meetings. Funny to track Click over time through like, when everyone was all remote and now we're back in, kind of back in the office, where their feature sets really line up with that, right? Like the remote work tools they added back in the day. And now they're adding hybrid work tools, so that people that are in blended offices can still collaborate easily.
Yep. And then analytics, this must have been big for it to make our year in review, but they got some chart enhancements that I'm assuming you must have been in love with for this to be noted as notable or major. As we go through the year and we do the CRM Zen Show, we're basically noting in the document whether something's notable or major, and that's how it kind of goes in here. So these must have been big enhancements, Tyler.
Yeah, a couple updates on this for October. One of them was the tree map view in the charts. That's one that basically gives you a way to look at data across many different, call it like categories or stratifiers. They also did a lot with creating like global rules in the application for like design and look and feel of charts, just to like standardize color palettes and things like that. And then, added a couple different integrations as well as ChatGPT, so we can kind of count that as one more Chat GPT on the list. Ask it questions about data and trends, just all from within analytics.
Yeah, and I guess we didn't note it as notable, but Zoho Subscriptions was renamed Zoho Billing at some point during the year. And kind of added some new features, changed some things around. A nice update. The name change kind of made sense. It still does all of the subscription things you would want it to do as well. And it added single sign-on. So for those using it, you now got single sign-on ability in Zoho Billing, which was good. And then Zoho Social introduced an inbox, which is really cool. Basically, a central place where you can respond to and read all of the comments that might be coming across all of your social posts that were out there. So very cool. Very cool. Moving on to November, which was just last month, but it seems so long ago. Zoho dropped a new application called Zoho Practice. That actually, we've been in beta for a while and we've been playing with it. That is for basically the Zoho Finance Suite and for basically accounting firms to help them run their overall practices, which is very cool. And Zoho Projects had a dot release 8.0, which introduced, I think, some pretty major changes. I know it was only a month ago, but it does. There were quite a few changes in the Zoho Project 8 that we thought were worth mentioning at the time. And Zoho Marketing Automation 2.0 officially launched. This was after literally it is coming out next month since middle of 2020. So middle of 2020, it's coming out next month. It'll be here in 90 days. It will be here. And it finally launched. We actually have a video on that Wayne did, which is, pros and cons comparing Marketing Automation 2.0 to Zoho Campaigns. It's still a mystery to us why these two applications exist as separate apps when they're pretty much the same application with just some slight modifications. But there are some good things in Marketing Automation 2.0. Now Zoho has to solve for people that are on campaigns, right? And what we're going to do for those people and some other things. So it's, anyway, your thoughts on that?
Still have some room to grow. I mean, it's the big thing that I'm hoping that they can solve for over time with Marketing Automation 2.0 is connecting your web traffic to your CRM, to your outbound marketing. I've, talked on and on about how I would approach it with forms and Sales IQ and CRM and really just clicking those together more tightly. If they want to build a whole new app to do it, that's fine too. But that's just the big piece of functionality that I think a lot of Zoho users are missing, and especially when you side by side it with HubSpot, right? It's the one thing that HubSpot does that just it beats Zoho on pretty significantly is connecting that whole customer journey. So I cheer them on as they keep working on this. I don't know that it really solves those big issues yet, but hey, we'll take any progress, right? At the end of the day.
Absolutely. And your beloved FSM, I say you because you have been the one who's kind of taken this by the horn, done the tutorials on it, done a whole bunch of things, driven it, got a whole bunch of little tweaks to it that kind of were really filling in some gaps.
Big two adjustments here in November were one, date-based workflows. So when it launched, if you had like an appointment tomorrow, you couldn't set up a workflow that would say one day before the appointment, send a reminder that we're on our way tomorrow, right? Pretty big functionality for FSM, definitely need to have. So they added all of that, works very similarly to CRM, right? So as you expect. Then the other thing they kind of snuck in with this update is in the API for FSM, they opened up the ability to create records that are linked to CRM. So if you wanted to automatically create a work order but link it to a deal, they added the API functionality to do that, which is huge. That's a big update for how a lot of people are going to really use the tool.
Yeah. And this was, big changes to that. But I think the biggest change in the month of November, Tyler, is going to be the module data export limit increased in CRM. We actually did a blog couple of weeks ago where we went through and we asked our team members what they felt the biggest thing that happened last year was, and I think Josh put this one down as the biggest. what did it increase from? Something like 2,000 to 200,000?
Yeah, it was from I think 3,000. Yeah, 3,000 to like 200,000 or something like that. It was a pretty significant. It's a pretty significant increase. I remember on the news story they showed a
graphic
that showed the bar chart of what it was versus what it is. And it was a very, very significant increase. Yeah, they bumped it up to 200,000. So a huge increase for exporting data, all just natively through CRM. But then they also added the ability to export with like filters. So in the past, if you wanted to export a filtered list, you had to make a report, save it, and then export that, which is fine. But then you have your own export limits there of like, I think 20,000 records as a CSV. So now you can come into the export tool, create basically like a custom view, and then export up to 200,000 records through that. Huge improvement for like data management and just being able to work with your own set of data more easily.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap up this year in review with taking us to our current month, December here. Couple big updates that happened. Zoho Desk got parent-child ticketing, which basically allows you to group tickets in kind of a relationship base. So, your website went down and you got a bunch of tickets around, hey, I can't access this, I can't do this, I can't do this. You can kind of lump them all together. Also, you can lump them together by companies and, a variety of the things. It's kind of basically free flow. You just select them and then create one kind of a parent-child relationship. So when you close out...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so when you close out the main issue, it's going to close out all of the others that are associated with it.
Exactly. And it can notify all of them because you have a lot of scenarios, and especially for like managed service providers, what oftentimes happens is that like they have a monitoring system that identifies an issue that creates the parent ticket, and then all of their customers and users submitting tickets once they notice go as child tickets, right?
Yep.
And so then once you've solved that system issue, then it'll auto notify everybody else that the problem should now be solved. Huge time saver for people that have that type of structuring in their tickets.
And then covered on last week's show, just released here in the last 7-8 days, is Zoho CRM Process Flow. You want to know about that, just watch last week's CRM Zen Show pretty much. We kind of could talk about that in detail. But this is blueprints on steroids across your entire thing. You'll basically need to get a Visio chart and flow out your entire process. And if you want to, you can memorialize that inside the CRM.
So essentially, like Brett mentioned, blueprints, but across many modules. So you could literally go from when a lead is created to when an invoice is paid, all in a blueprint-like process management tool.
Absolutely. So with that, that's going to wrap up our year in review. But as many of you may know, every year Tyler and I have a wish list that we put together of things we would like Zoho to do, and we keep a scorecard of that. So let's see how we did. So in 2023, Tyler, we had 2 wishes granted. I wanted them to integrate Zoho Notebook with CRM, which I've been asking for since the day Notebook was released, and they integrated.
Convinced they did that just to shut you up. I am convinced that they were sick of it and they decided to stop it once and for all.
Yes, and it's not a great integration, but that's aside. All things aside, it's just basic. But anyway, they finally did integrate it. And then I think this was yours. You wanted them to finalize the rollout of FSM and get it done. And they did.
It's just such a commonly needed thing for Zoho users, being smaller businesses on average. We were always in a weird spot because it's like, well, you have Zuper, but that's third party. And then you could do like a creator app for it, but that's a crazy build, So we were really hoping they would get this out this year just so that we can lock in our solution, right, on how we want to approach those. We were really happy to get that wish granted.
And I think we did feel like this is a big one that we've all talked about, but this is for you. I think you've been key on this one, where they're getting closer to just focusing on core functionality of their major apps, CRM, Desk, Project Books, Analytics, and kind of cleaning those up rather than like bright little shiny things that they're chasing and developing. So, and And there were a lot of core improvements there. I would say that this is
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's like a handful of things in some of these applications that they still definitely need. Zoho, if you're listening, Zoho Desk needs like an assets module, like serialized inventory module. But at the end of the day, while they did roll out a lot of those things that I would call shiny objects, they did hit a lot of big picture core functionality across those applications.
And wishes denied for 2023. We had 3 of those. We wanted them to add more data centers or source more bandwidth for AWS, Azure, or Google. We didn't care. What does that mean? There are a lot of Zoho applications that we just can't recommend, Zoho Meeting being one of them. Zoho Click is great and you can do calls in it, but there are a lot of things that Zoho is just basically bandwidth and compute restrained. And these are self-inflicted wounds. I think I'm over the excuse that COVID delayed us opening more data centers, because I know they were going to open a whole bunch of data centers back in 2020. Those, of course, didn't happen. But we're moving into 2024. So again, I really would like let's double our data centers and double our compute, or outsource to AWS. I mean, if it's good enough for Netflix, it should be good enough for Zoho. But that doesn't fit into their core thing. So I guess at the end of the day, you're going to look at various applications and say, well, will this work for me? Does it have limitations based around bandwidth and compute? I'll give you a great example of this, which is really painful, but we talked about earlier in the show, we launched our team training courses, our Zoho team training, and we wanted to do it in Zoho Trainer Central, which is their LMS. It could not stream the videos properly. It lagged, it stuttered, and so we ended up having to go with, what did we end up choosing? Teachable. Having to go with Teachable. And it's painful because I want to do it in Trainer Central, which is a great application. It's got everything, but it's a beautiful application hobbled by the fact that they don't have the bandwidth needed or the compute power to properly spin up and stream videos properly. So anyway, work on that, Google. Tyler, you want to go on this next one?
Yeah, next one was we were begging and still are begging for rich text support in CRM. This one says in CRM, no fields. Honestly, I'll take it anywhere. Give it in a multi-line field. Give it in a new field and make me move all the data over to a new field. I don't care. We just need rich text support. As you're going through and, we're sitting down with a prospect, right? And we're taking a list of their requirements. Doing that in bullets with indents is just the natural way to do it. We're talking CRM, then I do an indent. Oh, we're talking lead flow. Maybe I do another indent and I'm 2 layers deep now. And there is just no support for that in CRM. So you have to do silly things like I do hyphen, to like give it kind of the indent structure, but it's just not the best way to do it. Yeah, / We've got lots of things that you probably see all over my deals that I do to kind of give it the look of something that is rich text. Yep. But yeah, it's an absolute need to have. I'm pretty sure it's being worked on, but it's just, where is it, man? It's got to happen. Spoiler alert, it very well might be on our list for 2024, which we'll get into in a little bit. Last one here, and I think this is one that both you and I have been begging for, is just to figure out the pricing with Zoho Voice. We were hoping they would do that coming into 2023. It's in a weird spot right now where it's kind of more expensive than RingCentral, and you have like some per minute charges, which is kind of just an outdated way of pricing for these services. Like the vast majority of them include, if not unlimited, but darn near unlimited minutes with your initial subscription cost. And so, to figure out Zoho Voice pricing, Greg had to build an analytics dashboard where you select from like 5 different elements and it spits out your appropriate pricing. That just shouldn't be necessary, right? It should be monthly per user, 10 users. Okay, 10 times monthly. That's all you should need to do. But yeah, that wish was not yet granted here as we're closing out 2023.
No. And then, I will say on the RingCentral side here, I'll do it now rather than go into a rabbit hole later on this thing. We're on RingCentral. We don't really need them. We've kind of moved almost everything to Zoom now. There's very little phone calls. But we were on, evidently, even though we are a RingCentral partner, they put us on a 2-year plan. And I guess last year I said, hey guys, I don't need it. Let's kill these lines. And they said, oh, well, you're on 2 years, you got to pay for them anyway, but it's up in a couple months. So I forgot about it. I went back to cancel them, and then I go, okay, yeah, well, there's a cancellation fee, which is your entire contract fee. So Ring Central is, they're on that whole Salesforce type of thing where massive contracts, literally no wiggle room to get out of the contract whatsoever. Getting out of the contract,
no customer centricity. It's no customer centricity there. They want every dime.
Yes, they do not care, and it's brutal, brutal doing business with them, brutal trying to and I tell you, pet peeve of mine, and I'll give Zoho big credit for this. Zoho's month to month. You can cancel at any time. If you buy a 1-year contract and you cancel in the middle of the contract, they give you a refund, right? You also can cancel online. You can buy Zoho online and you can cancel Zoho online. I think that there should be, all of our state senators and all of our elected officials, they pass all these laws, pass a law that says I can cancel anything anytime I want online. If I bought it online, I have to be able to cancel it online. Right?
There is a law in California. I know it's a law there that, they have to provide online cancellation. It's different for like 2-year contracts, like Ring Central, but like for things that are monthly, you can't force someone in California to call in and cancel it, which I think is great. I mean, it's silly. It's very silly.
Yes. Well, that's how Ring Central's getting around it, I guess. So anyway.
Yep.
But yeah, pretty crazy there. So even though
always
we
appreciated Zoho for that, like we poke and prod at them sometimes, but their business model is fair. Like they're not trying to screw you over.
Just easy to deal with. So very, very, very cool. All right. And with that, let's move on to our 2024 wish list. Some of this is going to sound familiar because if it was denied last year, well, it's here now. So increase that bandwidth and compute across data centers, simplify Zoho voice pricing structure, remove those pyramid and add native SMS functionality to Zoho Voice. That's a big one.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, look, that's selfish for us. Clients ask us all the time what they should use for telephony, SMS, and we've taken through the whole option list. There's a million different options. Oh, dial pad, Ring Central. Oh, maybe split your texting over to message media to do this. I'd love to just say it's all Zoho all the time. Use that, right? It would make my life so much easier, right? And it would make our customers' lives so much easier because it would all just be managed within Zoho One. Everything would be there, but just needs the pricing update, needs a bit more functionality here and there. We're so close to ending our 5-year telephony saga of us trying to figure out the best thing to be recommending to people. And it always used to be Ring Central, but they, like Brett mentioned, have just become so brutal on their own customers that we don't like to recommend them if we can get away with it. But they are just currently the best option, at least for pricing and integration with Zoho.
And Zoho integration. Absolutely. And then rich tech support. We just talked about that. Let's get that in there.
Please. Pretty please.
Yep. Kind of some new ones. Integrate Zoho CRM forms and Sales IQ so that Zoho form submissions can connect a CRM lead to a Sales IQ visitor. This sounds like a very specific request, Tyler.
It's a very specific request. I have begged for this. I have posted it in our Partner Connect. I have been on phone calls with product managers on the campaigns and marketing automation team, banging this drum. This is what HubSpot does. So HubSpot has web tracking very similar to Sales IQ. So it knows visitor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has been on these 5 pages on these dates and times, right?
Yep.
And what they do is when a HubSpot form is submitted, it takes that little visitor ID, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it links it with the lead. So now you know Tyler@Zenatta.com is this visitor and was on these pages. Zoho doesn't do that with Zoho Form, Sales IQ, and CRM. That's the missing link with so much of their like marketing implementations, and why we struggle sometimes to do extremely robust implementations is because so many of the visitors are anonymous, right? And they haven't been identified by submitting a form or anything like that. So this would solve a huge amount of it. I mean, think, Brett, like now you know all these visits. You can have an XML related list in a lead that shows every page visit they've ever done, right? Like now all of a sudden a new visit on a page can make a task to call them, things like that are just require analytics and SQL tables right now to try to put them together. Man, I would just love if they could connect those dots. It sure
It's a
would be
big one.
nice.
It's a big one. Gives them more parity with HubSpot, that's for sure.
Yep.
Across the board. And moving on with our 2024 wish list, simplification of Zoho bundles and application suite. Oh my goodness gracious. So Tyler and I kind of chatting with this one the other day. So Zoho One as a single bundle. So you've got, if you're unfamiliar, Zoho One has got all employee pricing and then kind of, what do they call it? It's not a la carte.
A la carte?
No, it's like pay as you go. I don't know. Basically, you have a choice. If you have 100 employees and all of them are going to be on, you're paying $45 per user per month. If you have 100 employees and you say only 10 of them are going to be on Zoho One, then you're paying $105 per user per month because you're basically not putting all your employees on. And so they're trying to reward you to put all of your employees on. This causes chaos in the Zoho.
All kinds of weirdness. All kinds of weirdness.
I think it forces clients to lie, which I hate. And we can't be the Zoho police and say, I think you're lying to me. What am I going to do? You know?
Yeah.
No, you clearly have more than 15 employees, but it causes people to lie. And I think that's crazy and that just needs to go away. And then when people are even honest, we had something recently where a person has 6 employees and they're on Zoho One, all employee pricing. But then they hire a rep firm to sell their products. And that rep
non-employees.
firm...
Yeah, these are not employees.
They're not employees. They're selling dozens of companies' products. They're an independent firm that's out there marketing and selling their products. And they want them to have email. And these people happen to be using Zoho Mail as part of the Zoho One bundle. And now all the reps, in order to have email, need to be a part of Zoho One.
And
there's
$45
no
a month.
Yeah.
Right. For like another Gmail account would be $6. If you're on Zoho One and you need one more mail account, it's $45 because in Zoho's terms, anyone with an email address is probably a W-2. So it creates, like you said, it creates situations where customers feel incentivized to be dishonest, which they probably don't feel good about. No one feels good about that. It's tricky because if they eliminate the flexible user pricing and put them all on the current plan, then like Zoho makes less money, or they put it right in the middle and move everyone to that. And then some people have to pay more. I get it. They've dug this hole. It's hard to dig out of it, but it just adds these layers of complication where, to save a small amount of money, someone will go off of Zoho One, and then now they don't get the management suite and the admin panel and all these other functionalities there, where it really just, honestly, I think you had this idea a long time ago that when anyone signs up for any Zoho app, it should create them a Zoho One account on the back end and give them that like management suite, like the dashboard. Right. And then they could just add apps a la carte until they hit a point where they do the licensing, whatever. But yeah, it adds a lot of confusion when people look at the pricing.
And they've pigeonholed themselves because before Zoho One ever existed, they had CRM Plus. And CRM Plus is $69 per user per month, and it's 8 applications, and they're core apps, and they're fine, but it's not the 40-plus applications that sit over in Zoho One at $45. And so you've got this delta of $45, $69, $105. And so where do you come in? Where would the middle ground be? Because for a lot of people, you look at this and you say, hey, it's going to be $75 per user per month, and that's the new pricing for Zoho One. Well, that kills CRM Plus. Nobody will be on CRM Plus. Everybody will pay the extra $6 and move on over. Maybe that's a good thing, right? But I think it's a win-win, and I don't think people would complain. I think you'd say, hey, guys, sorry, there's a new Zoho One price, and this is it. Because at $45 per user per month, it's stupidly, ridiculously cheaply priced for everything that you're getting in Zoho One. And it's kind of crazy. So anyways, it'll never happen, but it's on our wish list and something for you to consider. The next one, Tyler, so campaigns and marketing automation, you were kind of just talking about it. This one's getting baffling, wouldn't you say?
Just needs to get to a place where it makes sense. That's kind of what we've joked about before internally is it's just, they've tried so many different releases and tweaks and adjustments to make it make sense, but it just doesn't. Then it gets even more confusing because now if you check out Wayne's video that he did, the new marketing automation 2.0 has a similar tool to Zoho Social, but it's worse than Zoho Social. It has a similar tool to Sales IQ for web tracking, but it's worse than Sales IQ. So now it's become even more of this Frankenstein application. But what Wayne did say is that the journey builder, like the email automation builder in the new marketing automation, is way better than the old one in campaigns, which hasn't gotten an update. So it boggles the mind. I would just love if this could make sense by the end of 2024, whatever that looks like. If it could just get to a place where there's some logical path. Maybe you start with campaigns and then you upgrade to marketing automate. Like, I don't care. We get so many questions about it. And whether it's prospects, YouTube questions, everything, like, which one should I use? And it's like, campaigns for now is basically our answer. But I'd love if we get to a place where it just makes a little more sense.
Well, and it's crazy because if you look at, we've talked about, you got campaigns marketing automation, but you could just call it marketing automation. You could have the professional edition, which maybe is campaigns as it is today, right? And then the enterprise edition, which is marketing automation as it is today. And maybe there's an ultimate edition, or whatever, but you could just have those two editions and you're basically just taking away features. But it's one thing, one database, one synchronization. I mean, these are completely separate apps. They have completely separate databases. They clearly share a lot of common code because they're virtually the same thing, just accomplishing different things. It makes no sense. And our last three are really, so campaigns and marketing automation, let's get those together. Bigham and CRM made sense when Bigham was first released. Very simple, very, very simple CRM, Kanban, Pipedrive-ish. Now it's become Zoho CRM. I mean, it's got a clean interface. They're adding more and more features to it. You can do more and more with it. And it's like, are we really going to have two of these that people have to choose from? And they don't share a common database, which is just painful as all get out. Because if you say, hey, I want my salespeople to use Bigham, there's synchronization going on there. And so, before this gets out of hand, they need to figure out what's going to happen there. And then let's get rid of PageSense and just roll those features into Sales IQ. I think that's what we were talking about.
I mean, we're finding more and more that PageSense just doesn't work. I mean, I remember back in the day, we ran an A/B test on one of our pages and said, put 50% of traffic into option A, put 50% of traffic into option B, where option A was the default site. We got about 1,000 page visits in that period, and it put like 7 into option B. And it's like, well, that's not 50%. That's 0.7%. It doesn't seem to work on a lot of websites. And so, but Sales IQ does. So all you would really need to do is add like a scroll map and some heat mapping to Sales IQ, and then that would work perfectly. It's, again, another one of those things where we just have to guide people through these choices. They're like, I want web tracking and I see 3 applications that do it. Which one's right? And it makes people's, buying journey with Zoho just more confusing than it needs to be.
And so, Tyler, I think we will not get any of the last 4 that we've just asked for in 2024. But the last wish we have in 2024, I think you could grant Zoho. And I think you're thinking about granting it. So I think this will have some wins here. Fix the permissions in Zoho Sign, Forms, and Survey. Now, these are really kind of different. Zoho Sign is unique, and it's a fantastic digital signature application, but you literally have 2 permissions, an admin who can see everything and a user who can just see their own stuff. So that works great. Works great in a small company, but you get to a company of any size where you want to have a manager who can see the documents of his team, and you want to have someone above him who can see that. It just doesn't work. Forms and Surveys is a little different, and that, man, if you're the person who created the form or created the survey, that's it. You're the guy or the girl or the person, but nobody else can really do anything with it. And we'd kind of like to see that fixed, right?
Yeah, and the forms one is big. I mean, Survey, they've done well to give non-creators the ability to update things within a department. The big thing with Survey is just that it loves just making new departments for people. And then you have to delete the department, reach out to Zoho, get them out of the new one. Yeah, the forms one is just that I created a lot of the forms in the Zenatta account. So every time a form needs to be changed or we update an integration, it has to be me that does it, which with large marketing teams just is a non-starter, right? So yeah, got to get updated. I'm hoping you are that a couple of those are on the roadmap. I'd have to imagine that they are. So I think we'll get a couple granted. I think if I'm going to forecast, I think we're going to get rich text. in CRM this year. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. I wouldn't bet money on it. I'm not that confident, but I feel like we'll get that one, and I think we'll get some of these permissions updates. That'd be my forecast.
I'm hoping. Everybody, we hope you enjoyed our 2023 year in review. And now we will close off the year as for the fourth year in a row. This seems impossible, but for the fourth year in a row, we are going to, what do we do? What do we do? There it is.
Zenatta Consulting and the CRM Zen Show presents the 4th Annual Zenmy Awards.
You gotta love that.
Love Fred. All right, it's the 4th Annual Zenmy Awards presented by not just us, but by the CRM Zen Show, whoever they are. So, So shouldn't Azaz be a co-presenter this year? I don't know.
Possibly.
So we have simplified this over the years. So this year we're going to have 3 categories. We're going to have our best telephony application, our best marketplace application, and then we're going to do the top 5 Zoho applications of the year as voted by you. And there are some surprises. There are some surprises this year. It's big. It's big. So with that, let us get right on in to our first award.
Favorite telephony application. And the nominees are Zoho Voice, Ring Central, and Twilio.
Ooh. And the winner is... Ring Central. It's not surprising. Honestly, everything we said earlier, contracts, whatever, that application is rock solid, the best telephony application to use with Zoho. It works through Desk. It works in Recruit. It works in CRM. It works beautifully. It just works. The integration is simple. It's solid. Can't go wrong with it.
Absolutely. I think the only area where, might not be the best of the best is in the SMS integrations, but, now working with Message Media and Smooth Messenger, you just port your text part of your number over there and handle it that way. But yeah, like you said, even with all of our gripes sometimes with them is, some of their business processes and things like that, the product itself, it plugs right in. It's always going to work, and good mobile app, right? Kind of not a surprise to see it win. I think it won last year, right? For voice
it did.
Application.
Yeah. It always
kind of
wins.
becomes the default.
We might see something different this year. I know we talk about we want Zoho Voice to be there, but we've also had some really, really interesting, we've had some really interesting conversations with some people who should remain nameless, some major telephony providers that are out there that are trying to do some pretty significant things with Zoho integration. Could work out. It could work out. So anyway, congratulations to Ring Central for your Zenmy Award for 2023. And with that, let's head over to the marketplace and see who's going to win over there.
Favorite marketplace application. And the nominees are SMS for Zoho CRM by Cinch Message Media, Link Match, and WorkDrive for Zoho CRM.
Dun, 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 dun. And Freddie, the winner is... very good. This will be the second year, I think, that this has won. It used to be called Smooth Messenger. Jeremy Nagel's application was a Twilio integrated product. It was purchased by Message Media, who built it into them, and Message Media was purchased by Cinch. And Smooth Messenger doesn't exist. Now it's just Message Media by Cinch. Anyway, a great application. You mentioned it earlier. You can bifurcate your phone number, whoever you're using. Beautiful CRM integration. They do all the work for you. They set it up. They do a great job. Love working with the guys over there. So congratulations to them as well.
Yeah, well deserved. Hard to find a better SMS option for Zoho, and no surprise that they're so popular, given how popular SMS marketing and sales has become. Big shout out.
Interesting though. they just beat out WorkDrive. And the thing on the WorkDrive thing is there are a bunch of WorkDrive applications in the marketplace. And so there clearly is a market for that. So I think one of the things we'll have to take out of this and kind of looking at the survey is what's going on with these WorkDrive apps? Is there a need for, taking a look at what's happening there? Because it was pretty good. So
ever since Zoho deprecated their official one, it's become a bit of a Wild West situation with WorkDrive integration.
Yeah. So anyway, marketplace is growing. Be careful out there. It's a Wild West in the marketplace. So you want to take your time, look at the applications, really make sure that they're doing for you. And I'm excited for us this year, going to be jumping into the marketplace with some apps. So it'll be fun. Be fun. All right. Now let's take a look at the top 5 Zoho applications as voted by you, the CRM Zen.
And now, the main event. Favorite Zoho application.
Freddie's really gotten good at that announcer voice.
Number 5. Zoho Books. So that is the first time Zoho Books
number
made
5. It. Yep, first time Zoho Books making an appearance here on the Zenmys. Honestly, well-deserved. I think it's tough for a lot of people to rip the Band-Aid off and move over from QuickBooks Online. Zoho Books doesn't handle everything perfectly, progress billing. It's not an ERP, so you're not going to be managing your work in progress and things like that. But for the clients that it does work for, it works just beautifully. And even for some that it doesn't work for, it's a system of accounting. We use it to send the invoices, capture the payment, and then write that over to a different tool for accounting purposes. So I'm not surprised to see it on there. Honestly, I've always thought it's a great tool, but making its first appearance here on the Zenmys.
Yeah, it's been a rough year in a way for Zoho Books. They had a lot of synchronization problems this year, but they've gone through a lot. It has been exceptionally rock solid the last bit of time here for the last 6 months or so. We use it, of course. We have an entire finance team, and I'm happy to see more people liking it and it making the list. So congratulations to the Books team there. Number 4. Gotta love WorkDrive. Still no API limits on WorkDrive?
No, not yet. Not yet. Still technically no limits. We find so much use case for this tool, whether it's connected to CRM, desk, projects, creator, running mail merges through it, getting everything organized in appropriate folder structures. You really just can't go wrong. UI in WorkDrive is a little different than, Google Drive and some other tools. I prefer it pretty significantly. That's always going to be a preference thing. But if you're on Zoho One, it's very little reason that you shouldn't be using WorkDrive for the majority of your file management.
Yeah. It's a good application. I love it. I mean, there's, like you say, there's so much you can do with it. I mean, we're doing things where moving applications from attachments into WorkDrive. We've written a script where you take an attachment, move it to WorkDrive, get the permanent link, write that permanent link to the record, push that to WordPress and upload the image from WorkDrive to WordPress. All can be handled through Deluge. It's just really some really slick stuff going on there. So congratulations to the WorkDrive team and what they've done with tagging and all the other stuff. It's just
metadata.
It's a great application. It really is. So, all right, Freddie, what's our number 3? Who came in for the bronze? Zoho Creator. Gotta love the Creator. Great application.
And this one moved up from last year, right? Was it number 5 last year? And it kind of inched its way up a little bit. Obviously we're pretty biased. We love Creator. We run all of our internal operations on it. But really it's just so many use cases for it as a standalone tool, but especially as an extension of other Zoho applications. So, like an order form linked to a deal in CRM, a service form linked to a ticket in Desk, and just having that functionality there is just drives a huge amount of value and a very well-deserved bronze medal there for Zoho Creator.
Fantastic. Number 2. Some core apps here. One of your favorites, Zoho Analytics.
I think won the silver last year as well.
Yeah.
Was it number 2, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly? I mean, one of those apps where like once you're using a handful of Zoho apps and you start using it to put together reports that are cross-department and cross-process, really start to see the value of having all of these workflows centralized in Zoho. And then this year, of course, we're using it more and more as like an API and data management tool, which really just streamlines so much custom development doing things that way. So very well deserved. And a big shout out to the analytics team.
For sure. For sure. I mean, it just gets better and better with those guys. And so, well, there's going to be no surprise then. And I think we may need to change things going forward and just eliminate this. But of course, extremely well deserved. But the number one app in the Zenmy goes to...
I did not see that one coming. Number one award here goes to Zoho CRM.
Yes. I think we're just going to have to say that it gets the honorary Zenmy every year as the best application. We're going to have to remove it from the voting so we can, kind of do this up. Remember the year when we originally did this, it was like best finance app, but of course it'd be books, right? Because you go through the rest. Best this app.
Right, we changed it. Yeah, it was our breakdowns. It was just so obvious which one was going to win each category. But then doing it as a top 5, we run into a similar problem, right? Because you just know that number 1's going to be CRM, analytics going to be up there, creators going to be up there. It is tricky, but well-deserved number 1 spot for CRM. They did do a lot of work on this application throughout the course of this year. For sure. Definitely not resting on their laurels. They are working hard to make it better and better.
All right. Well, we want to thank everybody, Tyler. It's been a fantastic year to you and the entire. I mean, we thank our entire team. They're just everybody at Zenatta here has just been amazing this year, and we've had just so much fun. And we want to thank all of our clients and all of you who just support us on YouTube, newsletter, everywhere else, Club Zenatta, everywhere. If you ever want to chat with us, you can just head over to zenatta.com and click on book a meeting, and we would love to talk.
On the website is also where you'll find complete episodes of our podcast, the CRM Zen Show, as well as links to all the news stories throughout the course of the year. If you want that news delivered to your inbox every single Monday, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. And last but not least, please do like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next year for the next episode of the CRM Zen Show.
Thanks, everybody. Happy New Year.